As a test to see how we can do maybe a recording of our PowerPoint using the camera that's built into PowerPoint. Never done it before. So this should be available for offline viewing at the end of the day after Monday. And so we'll see how it goes. Hello and welcome to the 2020 class for Game Programming and Virtualization. I wanted to go through kind of a summary of expectations. We'll talk about these in detail interactively, but I thought it would be helpful if we went through them together and see how that goes. So bear with me. We're trying some new technology here. I think for all of us to understand is I expect, and I hope you expect, that things might change. We need to be flexible. Kind of my mantra lately is to be smart, be safe, be kind, and be flexible, because these are unprecedented times. And it's not going to be perfect, and we're not perfect. So as we go through this transition from something I'm practiced at, which is in-service instruction or in-person instruction, to the virtual or remote learning or e-learning, seem pretty synonymous, I do want to be as close to supporting you in your learning as I can be. That's my goal, and so we'll see how it goes here. All right, so one of my first expectations is that you're in this class because you chose to be in it, right? That you'll actually want to be engaged with the material. So I see a problem already. The camera kind of covers up where I am on the screen. I might need to stop this and retry, but you know what? We're going to go through it, and we'll see how it goes. But you'll be engaged. This isn't like a class that you're forced to take, and so therefore I would expect that you're going to want to be involved with the activities that we do. At the start of class. And that may not be perfect, but what I've done is, I'll show you in a minute, I've set up some expectations where when class starts, I'm going to give you some extra time, but I want you to use it. If you get on and there's no problems with your connectivity, then the next thing to do would be to open up your camera or your chat, see who else is there. Over time, it'll become easier to say hi to people, and we'll find that that time beforehand, if we all respect each other's time and we're there to start on time, you won't feel like it's a waste of time. So let's extend some grace to anybody who might be late getting into it the first couple of days. And then once we get a flow going, I think you'll find that it's better if we're online when we're supposed to be online, right? Together is we have a thing called synchronous learning. And synchronous, like unity, like working together, it's best when we're interacting at the same time. So if I was interactive right now, I could pause things and I could say, does everybody see the elephant? Raise your hand if you see the elephant, virtually speaking. We'll talk about how you can do that in a minute, just to make sure that the video feed was working okay. Or I might ask, how's my sound? Let me know using your emotion icons how you feel about the sound coming through. Is it on my end? I need to amp my volume up because you've got yours cranked and you can hardly hear me. So we'll work that out. But the point is, we have to work together. We have to communicate. Dedicated time for people to come in. And in a traditional sense, it's like your hours, but you'll actually be here for 2 hours when we're in person. We break it down by what we call a session 1, 2, and 3. And those start times are indicated on the slide that you see before you here. So if you're in first session, the expectation is that you're online before 8:30 and that we would spend about an hour together. And at the close of that time, we would move into you doing a hands-on activity. And I'd be supporting you in it. And if you had questions, you could contact me. So we'll work this out over time. And then same pattern for second and third session. Now, the reason you want to be in the same session that you've been registered for is that when we get to in-person, you're going to be working with those people closely. Group projects. Some of the better projects that get done by students involve the steps of collaborative design, exchange of ideas, and there's a healthiness, and it mirrors what happens in industry. So we really value that interaction, and we can do that in our remote plan as much as possible. And that's why it's really important to strive to attend as many of those in-person learnings, the remote learnings, as you can. order for your attendance to be counted, there's a process that when you go in through a tool that we're going to be using called Schoology, it's going to be a link that opens up basically a simple form that you fill in, what day you're attending, first and last name, what session you're registered for. Now, we are going to permit students, if needed, and it should be an exception basis, to attend a different session so that they could still interact at a different time. So, maybe on Monday it works out with your schedule, you're in the right place, and on Tuesday maybe you have a block schedule and you need to shift over for that one. That's acceptable. We're going to work to get people together as much as possible. It's not ideal. And the least ideal would be that you had a day which in the whole course of the day you couldn't line up with any of the 3 synchronous learnings. And only at a last resort would that be okay then to grab what we're calling a recording of a session. Now those aren't there forever. In fact, they're there for a number of days, handful of days. So don't count on that being there. Don't rely on it. But if in the event you need them or you want to review what happened, our goal is to provide those for you. It's probably already happening. People have their phones out. Mine's not that far away from me. It's not set to silent. I haven't done AFK. I haven't set it to, let people know I'm engaged. My phone could potentially ring. Somebody could come in the door. There's going to be some things that could be distracting. And one of the things that's most distracting in modern times is the connectivity, the instantaneous availability of the different notifications on the phone. So my expectation is that you're going to use all the technology appropriately. If you're, well, we'll get into more specifics, but that's the expectation. When we're here, and when you're doing your own thing, and especially in the hands-on time, some people really benefit from using technology that helps them focus. And an example of that might be using a white noise generator. There's websites, and actually brown noise is another term that you may or may not be familiar with. They can be very useful for knocking down ambient sounds so that you're not distracted by what's going on around you. And so there are headphones in the lab for people to use when they're here. They are equipped with a boom mic, different than what I'm wearing. It allows you to record your voice for productions, as well as to play things like music or the white noise, or for you to chat from the computer in the lab with me. That can actually happen here as well. But what could be tempting is that I'm talking or someone's doing something and you decide you're going to tune into some music in the background because you can do 2 things at once. At least that's what you might think. Science says otherwise. And here's the bottom line. It's your opportunity to learn. And if you'd rather listen to Spotify music or something else rather than attend the course, it's time in the first week or so, I'll be candid, to find another course. Because you're either passionate about the topic in a very competitive field, or you're taking this to fill your schedule, and that's not going to do you, me, or the other students that are really passionate about it any good at all. So keep that in mind. I mean, if you have questions, ask, but we really want people that are interested, engaged, and motivated in the curriculum. And if listening to something else is more important to you, then you're probably in the wrong class. All right. I'm not sure how much experience you have with being on Zoom calls where people don't know how to mute their microphone, or even in what we call Schoology, where we have some meetups and people can have their mic on, and you might actually hear them doing things in the background or hear noises that are distracting. And so, as a courtesy to everyone else, I'm going to ask that you mute your microphone unless you've raised your hand and you have a question. I mean, generally speaking, I like the questions typed into the chat with an indication that there's a question so that everyone can read it and process it. And even by typing it out, sometimes you figure it out, to be honest, as you type it out. But that hand keyboard process is something we're going to continue to work on. It's how programmers actually interact. We don't program by talking into a microphone. We use the keyboard. Definitely a skill that we're going to refine and develop over time. And it's not unique to this experience with remote learning. So be aware, everything that we're doing online can be monitored, it can be recorded, it can be used later as reference of maybe you made a bad decision. And so I don't like the question, what were you thinking? Um, the question, why did you do that, asks the question like, why did you, or why did you decide not to? There are things you could do, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. So, if you're uncertain whether you should do something or not, maybe you need to hold off, okay? And you'll see, I'm trying to coach you to success here, right? There's ways to be entertaining without doing something that people are going to find offensive or hurtful. Sometimes people are joking and they say things that they are unintentionally hurtful with. You never know where somebody's coming from. And if you can't imagine what it would be like for some of the things they've gone through, you might not have the empathy to understand that this can be hurtful for. I sincerely had a rotten experience happen with a child that was in my class back in, 2006. His mother perished in a horrible event. And when he returned to school, he was asked by another student, where were you? And he said, my mom died. And the other student thought he was kidding about it. And when the student who was joking back at him finally realized, oh, he's serious, it was a real learning moment for all of us to really think about what we're joking about. I've seen people say, oh, it's cancer, you're cancer, not knowing there's someone in the room that their family's dealing with cancer. So, there's a lot of humor that's what we call dark humor, or perhaps we're just having fun with someone. It's just so easy for it to be misinterpreted in a electronic world. So guard yourself against that and think twice. You can have fun about things without actually getting into areas. And if you make a mistake, it's okay to say I'm sorry, or I wasn't realizing this might affect you in that way. We're human. That's okay. But I'm just trying to set the tone here. My expectation is you're going to be kind, and you're certainly not going to pick on somebody or make fun of them, right? In industry, you're going to find there's a code of conduct. There are things that you may not necessarily agree with, but there's a time and a place for you to speak your mind. And in school, like in corporations or in organizations, you need to follow the rules of the organization. And we've already all agreed to a code of conduct. We've already indicated our acceptance of it. So, yeah, be good. This reinforces the idea you're going to work together. This picture here, actually, the student. I'm trying to place the year here. No, I thought he was in this picture, but it's actually a different student that was here. I got a call from a student earlier today. He's just finishing he's a senior at U of I, and he's looking for some help, and he contacted me. I thought he was in this picture, but to be honest, it's not him. But these pods, they work together. They form teams, and they come up with concepts, and they create video game projects. I'm going to grab a couple of these over here that are to the left just to show you. All right, so when we're here and we're working together in the Unreal game engine, and I've got highlights from this. This was a team project that was put together, Medieval Gem Chase, and you'll put a CD together as well. Here's another one. This one actually, this team did games later that were playable in VR. It was kind of a joke character. Wabaluchi, I think, was what they ended up calling their character. Obviously, tribute art. A couple of other ones, and as you work together on a team, somebody might specialize in the box art, or somebody might specialize in the coding. So working together on a team project is actually a feather in your cap. You'll be working with a pod or a team as you do so. And so one of the ways we'll simulate that in our remote learning environment is we're going to use this thing that says create breakout rooms. You can see that on the screen. It's highlighted in blue. Class, because They'll do anything to get out of their homeschool. Some people take the class, this one here, because they think they'll be able to play games. And if you're taking culinary because you like food, or if you're taking game programming because you like to play food or play games, the point here is it's not about being a consumer of that thing. It's about becoming a creator of it. So, I mean, chefs hopefully enjoy their food, and game developers hopefully enjoy it, but there's a difference in wanting to be a creator and just wanting to be a consumer. So the focus here is on becoming a creator of technology and not just a user. Your learning is your deal. You got to get yourself online. You got to be awake. You got to figure out how to get yourself here. I don't drive a bus around in the morning and honk my horn and go knock on doors. There are some communities where that might happen, but you got to get yourself here, be that electronically or physically. So take ownership. It's your learning. I mean, I know this stuff. That's why I'm doing it. If you want to learn it, that's great, because I'm here to teach. If you're here to learn, we're going to get along great. Right now, I just want to point out this is so one-sided. I'm not used to this at all. I'm not used to playing like, a vlogger or a blogger or somebody who's just talking. I don't like to read PowerPoints. And usually I can read the room and I can ask questions. So there's some icons that we can use in our interactive sessions to help me figure out what's going on. And I'm going to take a few minutes here and level set our expectations. What is it you can do on the slide, in the meeting? You'll see it on the slide, but what we're talking about is how you use it in a meeting to communicate where you're at. That I've asked everyone to vote, and then I want to clear the statuses, or I might ask everyone a yes or no, and then I might clear your statuses. So this is especially important when we talk about the first. Now, if I do, what I might do is I might bring one of these signs down, and I'll take my headphone off for a minute. Pardon me if it makes a little clicky noise. So basic idea, right? Let people know. I mean, if I go quote unquote AFK, away from keyboard, and I'll be right back, I'll try to give you a visual on that. But at the same time, I might have my camera on. I to it. One of the main reasons you might want to go away from your keyboard is because realistically, and as much as you might prep yourself, you might need to get up and use the washroom. So think about it. If you're going to be there for an hour, plan ahead. If we're in that first 5-10 minutes, still fine for you to get up and go use the washroom. Don't bring anything with a webcam, even if it's off in the bathroom. Just don't even open that possibility of something getting bumped. Don't want to have that happen. If you have Bluetooth headphones, you can continue to listen as you leave the room, do your business, and after you wash your hands, come back. So keep that in mind, that I could even have to go. I'll be honest, it's just part of being a physical being. So we'll do the best we can to be on the same page. Another benefit of these recordings is if you have to leave for some reason or get interrupted, having a recording helps you play it back later. Interactive is I'm actually going to have you change your emoji status to raise your hand. And I might ask questions or go through a practice. A few reasons why you might want to. If my audio drops and you're not hearing me, you could raise your hand. And if everybody's raising their hand, I might wonder what's going on. There's some other reasons. You might want to volunteer. If I ask for a volunteer, like who would like to tell us about what they, and then I might ask a question and somebody might raise their hand to volunteer. So if you have a question, you'll notice here on this slide that in order for it to stand out in a chat, which might just kind of be a variety of things being said, if you use this format of question within those brackets, it helps it jump out, and we'll try to get to those. So there's reasons why not to do each of these icons. You can review these on your own, but if you have questions, please ask. Hopefully you've had a minute to read through that. I don't like reading This next set, it's different than saying you're away or you're going to raise your hand. It's actually a whole group of them that I would put together. I'm going to call them emotive statuses. And so it might be like, how do you feel about, and I might ask a question, and then we might get a variety of statuses. So remember to clear your status, and there's definitely a reason why, to actually see somebody's response. And I mean, you're certainly welcome to say you're happy or you're sad or you're confused at any point in time. But if you have a particular question, that's when you'd raise your hand, not necessarily change it to confused. I might sit there and a lot of people are confused, and then I say something and all the confusion goes away. But if you have a particular question, let me know by way of that icon, and this set of icons is to let me know where you're at, so to speak. Often we're going to use it, but if I said, for example, hey, you have a great chance to earn college credit, you might be happy, happy, joy, joy, and an applaud. Great. Or it might be that you had an aha moment and you're like, yes, I finally got it. So it's not for sarcasm. It kind of should go without saying, but what I mean. People might clap obnoxiously. No place for it in the classroom, to be honest. So again, let's be kind. I have high expectations. I know you can raise yourself to these expectations. This is like a binary value. It's off or it's on. It's true or false. It's yes or no. It's really something where I want to know both those, not just show of hands, like who wants. I don't know. But here's an example right here. To vote for or against something, right? That would be an example where I want everyone to speak their opinion on something. Who thinks the answer is 3.14? And then you might do thumbs up and thumbs down, or because raising your hand is kind of like more for a question. Oops, I think I went forward twice. There we go. That's still true. All right, got some joke humor here over on the right hand side, right? Every now and then I'll throw in something funny. Not that I'm not serious about what I do, but again, you can be non-offensive and still interject some humor. All right? So that would be some examples where no one's going to feel put down. It's more of a pun. It's just having fun, and you got to think about it a little bit, but it's make you smile. All right. So rules. I got to think about rules. I don't like having a ton of rules. Rules, some people say rules are meant to be broken, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let's keep it simple and, always be safe. That's number one. Now, in the building, that invokes a lot more. When it's winter and you're on the bus and there's snowballs as temptations and there's a lot of things that could happen, or how the rough housing might happen. You probably see it in the halls in your own member schools. So I want you to be safe. And in fact, I need you to be safe. So there's some different attributes for online safety. So be mindful if you don't feel safe. If there's a problem, if you communicate something about safety, it's got to be taken seriously. So another thing not to joke about is that you're being cyberbullied or you're being bullied. If you are, I'm going to take you at your word and we're going to act on it. And don't expect that you can misbehave or treat someone poorly and then say you're joking. Because there's just no place for joking when it comes to such things in an educational environment. Because our number one goal is for people to feel and be safe. That's what I expect people to give you. That's what I expect you're going to give other people. The second rule I have written down here is to become increasingly professional. I strive to do it. There's a term lifelong learner, and I'm always learning things and I make mistakes. And, if I ever do something that may offend someone, I'll genuinely work to recognize it and become more professional. The thing I want you to understand is that we make mistakes, but it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to hold a grudge. I want you to learn from it, and I expect over time you're going to become a stronger, more professional presence. Maybe your first emails aren't the strongest, but over time, as you see examples and get some feedback, you're actually going to become more businesslike. The reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to prepare you for opportunities such as job shadows, internships, college interviews, so that you definitely should stand head and shoulders above any of the competition that isn't around me through a year of instruction, because I'm focused on what industry wants. My goal is for you to be successful in industry. And so that's what that is. Number 3, take pride in doing your own work. Now, it's quite possible that you could Google some type of an answer that might actually be accurate for a question that we're asking here. You're probably not going to find a job where you're going to get paid to Google answers. You're probably going to get paid to use your noodle. So I want you to do your own work. Now, that doesn't mean I want you to retype a program from scratch every time. If you've written a program before, you can copy and paste it and change the parts you need to. That's cool. That's not plagiarism. If you use somebody else's code, I want you to make sure you understand it and document you're using somebody else's code. Wow, I found this example that lets the player wrap around the screen. Sorry, another example where background noise could be a problem. So I was saying, if you find an example of, and you might want to say, I found this sample code that lets the player wrap around the screen, and I'm using it here. As long as you understand how it works, that's legit. That happens in industry too. Okay. Follow all the school-wide rules. This is something we inherit. And the school-wide rules, they're specifically designed so that when we merge people from 22 different high schools, we have a common ground and everybody's on the same page. Those are in the student handbook, which is available electronically. Now, in addition to the school-wide rules, and what that indicates is, all right, here's the class, we're in a school, and then above that we've got local laws and state laws and federal laws, and then there's the laws of the universe. The law of gravity, for example. We got to follow the laws. They're just there, you know? So that's what the rule. But there were guidelines that were sent out from administration. And I want you to follow those guidelines and work to the best of your ability. It's not a race. Work at your own pace. I'm falling into that habit of reading in front of me. But again, it's your opportunity, and I want you to do what's going to position you for success. My light's auto-dimmed because it's after school hours now. You got me burning the midnight oil, people. All right, moving on. But it's an expectation. I want you to think about where are you going to do your work, and then what can you do to minimize your distractions. We talked about the phone, but it also might be that you're better off having your back against the wall if your camera's on so that nobody can see it. But what else can you do to eliminate distractions on the other side, what you have behind you? Headphones might actually be a good idea. So that'll depend on your setting. And let me know if you have questions. I might have some suggestions for you. A suggestion I'm going to have for all of you is that at some point before you come online with me, especially if you've been sitting for a long time, is I'd like you to consider getting up and walking around a little bit. If it's safe and the weather's appropriate, stretch your legs, get some fresh air. What will happen when you come to tech? It's actually it's a great physical experience out of a normally scholarly focused day for some high school students. They have to grab whatever that they need, usually in a backpack, heave that onto their back and make their way to a bus, and then the bus drives and they get jostled and they get what we call proprioceptive input. It's loud and you're talking with friends and it's interactive, and then you got to get off the bus and find your way into this complex of a building. And that physical aspect gets the blood flowing. It helps you wake up. You get a little energized. You see a lot of people from different places. It's a lot of sensory input. And if you're sitting at one spot and you're just kind of going through a bunch of e-learning sessions, it doesn't really match. So what I'm going to suggest you do is that you take some time and actually interject some activity in your day. Okay, let's move on. There is a number of tools. I'm going to touch on them briefly. We'll get into the specifics, but they're standard tools that the expectation is you're going to use them. You'll use, and we'll get into, I'll just cut. And there's the 3 different sessions. You can only check in on your own session. So if you're in first session, you're only going to find your name on the roster there. Even if on that given day, if you happen to be for a second session, you need to check in where it says first session or your name won't be on the roster. Okay. Just thinking out loud, would that work for you to get into my Schoology meetings? There's some uncharted territory here we're getting into. Here we go. Hopefully this is recording because I'm spending about a half an hour here putting this together. And this is my short one. This one's on expectations. All right, moving on. You'll use Schoology to check in. And then I should be interactive with you the 4 days indicated here. The 1 day is asynchronous. You still got to check in. And your check-in should be in by 2 o'clock every day. Any questions on that? Let me know. If you have a problem or an exception and I've marked you absent because I've put in my attendance and you attended something afterwards, you have to work that out, kind of working with your homeschool on what's going on and why you're not getting connected on a given day. Okay, that's where it's at right now. We'll start out in Schoology, and then as I introduce a topic or an activity, I've got a lot of historical resources in Google Classroom that I've used. Schoology, to be transparent, is new to us at Tech Campus this year. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel and try to put I can't in the amount of time that they've given us take all of the content from my Google Classroom multiple years and put that into Schoology. So the reality of it is I can still have a link to Schoology, from Schoology into Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, you'll still find some samples of student work from the past, which I think are very helpful. So you kind of go, what is it we're trying to do? And you can see samples from the past. So nonetheless, we'll be using Google Classroom on most days. Okay. Classroom, I can give you formative feedback. And now when we get to PowerSchool is there because it's the main contact between Tech Campus and each of the 22 member schools. So there's a process where our attendance ends up in this centralized location and a grade ends up in that centralized location. All that information specific to a student gets communicated back to their member school. And that's usually what you would see on whatever portal they have at your participating member high school. So that information comes from PowerSchool. So there's a series of layers that get peeled back to find out where we're teaching mastery to roll that up to what's your current grade in the class. And it's evolving. So keep me in the loop on your questions on that, because I'm trying to make it straightforward, but I get it if it's not quite crystal clear. In fact, at the college level, when you're interacting with a professor, you're required to use the official school email to communicate with them. You've probably heard this at your high schools, but just to underscore it here, yeah, I need to get your emails for Tech Campus using your Tech Campus email. And we'll go through how to use it. We use Outlook, which I'm very happy about because that's a more professional tool than some of the other ones I've seen used. We don't use Gmail, so don't be confused. I know we use a Google account association with the Google Education Suite, but we also have access to the Microsoft Office Suite, and that's the more professional, common professional tool set. So we will be using that. This email setup. Your business ID is really different than your playing around time, and we're going to be using the Unreal Engine. So make sure that you're using your credentials that come from the school with all of the tools that you start to use. And I'll go through a set of those because there's some good access to otherwise expensive software. But if you vary from the pattern of using your school email and your school password, and it happens more often than I'd like to think, and you forget your password, can't help you out. So this is the process we follow. The expectation is that you will use your Tech Campus ID and email when you use tools that are related to the curriculum that you're getting for free because you're in the class. So you're going to get a number that's unique here. Now, This number is the Tech Campus number. It's not the same one that comes from your home high school. So that 6-digit number plus the ending you see on the screen there is going to be your email address and will be the one that you use for these accounts. But there's no reason it should have changed. There's a whole bunch of free software. This would be a reason if you're watching it live to hit the applause icon, by the way. And you can see a list of things, and we'll get into what they are and why you might want them. Now, they don't work on Chromebooks. Yeah, I don't think they, well, some of them do. Office, Creative Cloud, parts of it do. Nonetheless, I want to make sure I just touch on this point. I'm not going to be tech support. And if you're trying to get a computer to run some of the software, I'm not your go-to guy. Yeah, it's just outside of my scope. I'm the teacher. I'm not the tech support guy. I hope that makes sense. Some of them are listed here by icon in an icon format. So I want you to keep in mind that we've got, I'm in the way of some of them, but we'll continue to kind of pull these out and use them as we see fit. And there may be a variety of new tools that come out, which I think is interesting. I don't mean to overwhelm you, just giving you a heads up. I expect that you're not going to remember it all. You can replay this anytime there's a video. We'll talk about this again because, again, I like to review things. You can move the scrub bar back and forth to replay something. A lot of times there's captioning you can open up. You can change the playback speed. You could replay the whole thing. So keep that in mind if you need a refresher. At a time. They're trying times. There's no doubt about it. Nobody would want things this way, you know, and it's gone on longer than really anybody would have wanted it to go as well. So I get that this is not fun. So in trying times, if we try together, we're at least working together. Okay. Oh, how am I ever going to do this? So here's an example. You know, when you first held a game controller in your hands, you had to look to see what buttons you were pressing and have to figure it out. And some of you, I know from history, some of you, when you get a keyboard in front of you, are doing something similar. You're kind of looking for the keys. Now, gamers, not even like professional gamers with their, modified scuff, whatever controllers, they don't have to look at their hands. And if you're looking at your hands when you type, something we're definitely going to want to improve because you're going to be a professional game developer, college student. You're going to want to touch type. We'll work on that. You'll get better over time. What I want you to do as an activity from the expectations I went through, and this is Monday's activity, I want you to take some time. This will be in Google Classroom. You're going to reflect upon, why did you take the class? And their prompts are right there. I want you to put those into a draft. All right, you can type them up, you can sketch about it, as long as you've got something that you can show as evidence of your thoughts. I'm looking for the possibility of your, I want to see an expression of your ability to tell me what's going through your mind. I'm looking for complete sentences. I'm looking for you to use words of a certain type. If you're having trouble putting this together, use whatever accommodations you have. I also want to flesh out if anybody's got challenges that we need to accommodate for or might make this curriculum overly challenging. So I'll be candid. I want you to put forth something that's a representative of you putting an effort together and showing some thought about this process. And if your answers are like, well, I signed up for the class because I don't want to be at X, Y, and Z, we need to think about that because it's in the first few days that you need to change classes if you decide this is not for you. And believe me, with no harm, no foul, I changed my mind many times throughout my trying to figure out what I want to do. And we'll talk more about my background later. That's not at all what this is about. But I want you to understand that, if you're in a class that doesn't seem right, let's get that figured out sooner rather than later. And so just to put a fine point on what you're going to do today, you're going to click on a link to go to Google Classroom. In a Google Classroom, you're going to read a description. You're going to go through this activity, and then you'll attach some work to it. If there's a problem with attaching the work, use a private comment, and you're going to mark it as done. So I understand not everyone's going to be able to get through all that because of everything else going on, but that's the goal. So the more of you that get that far, the better. All right? I'm going to wrap this up for now. Thank you for your attention. It's not easy these first few days. It's very one-sided. Over time, in our interactive sessions, I think you'll find them more rewarding, and this is a fascinating topic. This is not an easy class, but it's a very interesting one, and I hope you get a lot out of it. So looking forward to getting you, and for now, it's the weekend. Have a good time.